I'm sorry, I don't have any money for Girl Scout cookies. You don't have cookies? Then why are you here? I got my own thing going on over here. It's really awesome. I really enjoy doing my own adventures, and I don't need some sort of cute sidekick. Fine, I guess. So how do you feel about tater tots?
The Mandalorian is a Disney Plus exclusive series released to the platform in November of 2019. The series is a Western take on the famed Star Wars series, this time from the perspective of a lone bounty hunter, the Mandalorian, played by Pedro Pascal. Mando is set on a mission to retrieve the Child, an alien creature of the same species as famed character Yoda from the original trilogy.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
Speaking of the original trilogy, this takes place roughly 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. Star Wars creator George Lucas began initial inception of the series in 2009. The series, titled Underworld, was described as gritty and dark with never-before-seen adventure elements. Lucas had over 100 episodes planned with 50 full scripts written. However, due to the size, scope, designs, and costumes, was deemed far too expensive to be made at the time. After the franchise was sold to Walt Disney in 2012, work on the series began for the upcoming streaming service Disney+. Years later, in March of 2018, Iron Man director and writer Jon Favreau signed on to the series as writer and showrunner. The series' official title was released in 2018, with filming taking place at Manhattan Beach Studios, ironically in California. ILM, famous for their groundbreaking work in the original series and one of the best visual effects studios in the industry, was picked to lead the charge for the groundbreaking special effects seen in the show. This includes using virtual sets and a 360-degree video wall that would create environments never seen before. The massive LED video wall is used on a soundstage that can mimic any environment and is not only beneficial in time, but also total cost to the project. The wall is nearly 21 feet tall and 75 feet in diameter. Due to the displacement of the image, the initial image seen through your eyes looks distorted, but through a camera lens looks actual.
Shots of character in a vehicle traveling through a complex environment. It's always very difficult to do believably on stage. LED screens are a wonderful solution to that problem.
The effect, as seen on television, is done masterfully and is now becoming a Hollywood standard. Dave Filoni, who was integral into the creation of the Clone Wars, was brought on as an executive producer. This would benefit the story's immense connection to the Star Wars universe, including characters, locations, and events a lot of diehard fans will know. Filoni would also help write and direct a few episodes as well. Pedro Pascal was casted as the role of Din Djarin, or the Mandalorian. Favreau was a big fan of Pascal's presence and acting, describing him as a classic movie star with the skills necessary to portray someone whose face was almost always covered. Rounding out the cast includes famous 80s actor Carl Weathers as Greek Karga, leader of a bounty hunter guild. World-renowned actor Werner Herzog plays the Client, a mysterious figure who gives Mando the mission to find the Child. Gina Carano, former MMA fighter turned actress, would use her immense physicality to play the role of a former rebel shock trooper. Up-and-coming director Taika Waititi voices IG-11, a robotic bounty hunter. Giancarlo Esposito, a well-accomplished actor in his own right, plays the series villain Moff Gideon. Nick Nolte voices Kuiil, a newly discovered friend to Mando who helps him throughout his journey. The Mandalorian is one of the best developed shows on television. Without a doubt, the visuals from costumes, set design, animatronics, and character designs are top notch. This is movie grade quality. The average cost per episode is roughly $15 million, making each season worth a total of $100 million. It's quite easy to see this kind of cash spent at every pass and what feels like a theater experience every episode. Great detail went into designing a fully realized world in a way that many Disney Star Wars products haven't. In my opinion, the world and scope of The Mandalorian is much more realized than that of the newest Skywalker trilogy. Without going into a bashing session, much of the Skywalker films feel undeveloped in terms of the size, scale, and scope of the universe.
Look at this.
Here, this feels much more realized. Even if that scope isn't a galaxy-sized problem, it does so without explicitly saying how big armies are. Towns of stormtroopers are worn, dirty, and beaten up looking. Each city and location and set have this lived-in feeling that was missing from the movies. For the most part, most of the new Skywalker films feel like sets. Take, for instance, Canto Blight. This doesn't really ever seem to be the case in The Mandalorian. Obviously, the cast is loaded with talent, from behind the camera to in front of it. Despite the obvious mention of the child or Baby Yoda, more on him in a second, the obvious attraction is the Mandalorian himself. A man well guarded, he walks life with a wall up, protected from society and outside foes. Each conversation is treated with a level of Quentin Tarantino escalation and curiosity.
What are your plans for it?
How uncharacteristic of one of your reputation.
Is this conversation going to end out in a brawl or guns drawn? You never know, and Pedro Pascal plays it well with a sharp wit and a Clint Eastwood essence. However, underneath it all, through his attachment to the child, we discover something far more sincere and understated. The Mandalorian's subtlety, not so subtlety, tells a convincing story of nature versus nurture. His conviction to the child is due to his upbringing and is entirely convincing. Instead of heavy exposition, it's explained throughout time, and explainable acts from each character that keep you invested rather than confused why a character acted in such way. As for the child, well, there's no doubt why people love him, as the character is a Disney-fied character of a former great Master Jedi. My only issue with the child is, for the most part, the character acts like a reaction to what is going on. A lot of his interactions aren't really interactions. A lot of his screen time boils down to a reaction to benefit the people in the audience that go, "Oh, that's so cute." Alright, we got my protein powder. That's important for after a workout. Got greens, I gotta take healthy dumps. Got multivitamins, all-purpose health, very important. Pre-workout to get pumped. And I don't know how these got in here. Don't you judge me. Got you to the right, got you to the... Oh, I was lagging. Which, yeah, I guess it is, but that really boils down into another issue, and that's really the overall plot arc of The Mandalorian. Throughout the first season, you never really scale the importance of the child. Sure, he's a Force user, and obvious context clues lead us to believe he's important based on the fact that he is the same species as Yoda. Beyond that, we're really not sure why the Empire wants him. Sure, this is something that will more than likely be explained in the second season, but in my opinion, it could have been a bigger focus in season 1.
What is that thing anyway? I don't know, maybe Moff wants to eat it. I don't ask questions.
Which really caps off the biggest downfall, which is the amount of filler. Filler episodes are commonplace in network television, primarily in shows that have 20 plus episodes in a season. Networks give the show certain budgets and you allocate those bigger budgets for the first episode, the season finale, or the end of an arc. In a show with 8 episodes, like The Mandalorian, it comes off odd and navigates the show away from the plot. A few times in the season, the Mandalorian is sent on a side quest. After the episode, you beg the question, wait, what was this for again? 8 episodes creates a blip in your mind that every episode is going to be important. It has to be to fill out the season and get the arc across. That doesn't stop silly episodes like Chapter 5's The Gunslinger, directed by Dave Filoni, from happening. An episode where Mando comes across a young bounty hunter and helps him out for money. The two track down a famed assassin before the young bounty hunter turns on Mando. Once again, it steers focus away from the importance of the child and doesn't add anything to the narrative, not even from a character development standpoint for Din. It's also poorly directed and a bit dull at times.
If you're afraid to take him on, fear not. I can help you with that.
Looks like I'm calling the shots now.
Been with the guild?
Long enough.
Clearly not. Fennec Shand is an elite mercenary. She made her name killing for all the top crime syndicates.
Disney's The Mandalorian might just be the best thing Disney has done since they purchased the franchise almost a decade ago. The world is fully realized, with beautiful sets, impressive special effects, and great animatronics. The show's setting is a wonderful continuation to the original trilogy, heightened by the glorious score by Ludwig Göransson. Pedro Pascal's performance as the Mandalorian, or Din Djarin, is a layered performance, elevated by the fact he's pulling a Tom Hardy, hidden behind a mask. His character has a complexity that we haven't quite seen in the new Disneyverse, and that should be applauded. Internet meme sensation The Child is obviously a heart stealer, and even for a poor, cynical sap like myself, made me smile and even chuckle.
Come on, baby, do the magic hand thing. I'm out of ideas.
At a brisk 8 episodes, the show's first season has a difficult time focusing on a central plot and wades into the video game side quest territory a bit too much. While it's always fun to see Mando and a sidekick mix it up with different sets of characters, it's difficult to gauge the importance of the child's purpose when Mando is stopping for coffee breaks. Regardless, The Mandalorian is a shift to what made Star Wars great: groundbreaking special effects, a well-developed world, and characters everyone can love. It receives my highest recommendation.
So what's your name? Grow what? No. I'm gonna call you Steve. Okay, Steve. Got my tater tots. I don't know how those got in there. Tater tots because it's bulking season, right? Got some tater tots. I was wanting to know, how do you feel about tater tots?